Hello, everyone. This is Zami Eccles-Irwin from FilmFestivalCircuit.com and the Assistant Director of the Austin After Dark Film Festival. We are gearing up for our summer 2023 screening, which is going to be on August 6th at the Austin Film Society Cinema. And today we are talking with one of our participating filmmakers. Manny Baldo is the director of Danny. Manny, thank you so much for talking with me today.
It's absolute pleasure. I'm very excited to speak with you.
So give me a brief synopsis. What is Danny about?
Oh, goodness gracious. So Danny is pretty much about these two predatory men, one who is a little bit more pretentious and out there with his predatory nature, and the other one that is looking for love in the wrong places, is just honestly not sure where to go with women. And they basically team up at a dive bar to scope out and find prey for the night. And they end up both becoming visually enamored with a vibrant vixen named Caroline, who comes into their peripherals. And through the miracle of modern technology, or the nightmare of modern technology, they are able to basically infiltrate her private sanctum, which is this colorful layer of hers. And it turns out that she's more than meets the eye. And they basically learn that in terrible ways.
I love that. That's incredible. There's some great characters in there, and what a unique story. So tell me, what inspired this movie?
So I was living up in Northern California, and it was during COVID. So no one was really doing a lot of creativity at that point, or they were doing it behind the safety of closed doors. And I've been making short films, commercials, music videos for years. And I got a wonderfully mysterious message on Instagram from my now friend and writer, David L. Menard, who basically said that he liked my material. He'd seen some of my stuff before, and he wanted to meet with me because he'd just written his first script.
Okay.
And he saw that I really loved color and horror. So I felt immediately that he was looking in the right place.
Okay.
But we social distanced met for some coffee, and he gave me the script, and we sat on two park benches away from each other. And I was just laughing the entire first reading. It was like 10 pages long, but it made me laugh because it is such an outlandish and cheesy situation. It kind of reminded me of 1970s horror. And when I get really inspired and when something captures my imagination and holds tight, just a Rolodex of images and influences just go through my brain. So while I was reading, I immediately thought of Dario Argento's Suspiria. I thought of Brian De Palma's work like Dressed to Kill and Sisters. And I also thought of Mario Bava's Blood and Black Lace. So all projects that have very campy elements, not the best acting in the world, the color up the wazoo, really deep shadows. Just ultimately something that is fun to look at,
Totally.
and that is cringy and interesting and weird and not perfect in the slightest, but you have fun watching it. And of course, a lot of blood. So and projects that kind of chastise the audience for looking, which I thought was kind of an interesting idea of you're here, you're being a voyeur, you're watching. But the movie's like, how dare you look at me? So as soon as I was done reading, I literally word influence vomited all over David. Just like, I want her to have purple hair. I want the coloring for the bar, the male dominated layer, to be sweaty and brown and grungy. But then when you get to her environment, her safe space, it's pink and red and purple. I had all of these very visual ideas and how I wanted things to look. And David was kind enough to just say, roll with it, do what you want.
Awesome.
So it was a really wonderful effort with David just giving me the story and creating a team of people that really wanted to create something and were also being very conscientious and safety conscientious because of COVID.
Right.
But were also just so open to sharing their talents and making the most ridiculous, bloodiest, campiest thing possible.
I love that. What a great inspiration for the film, and I love to hear your process, seeing this story and then just exploding with the visuals. And it is such a visually motivated movie that clearly that's such a prime important thing. Love hearing about the influences. I'm kind of curious to you. One thing I haven't asked anyone this yet, but the thing behind the Austin After Dark Festival is that it's not genre specific, but it's theme specific. After Dark as the theme. What is sort of making a movie with dark themes? What does that mean to you?
Ooh. Um, so when I tell people that horror is my favorite genre and it's something that I feel that is very near and dear to my heart, a lot of
Totally.
people think horror as nothing but blood and gore,
Right.
things that make you outlandishly and unreasonably uncomfortable. And while that is like an aspect of horror, the horror that I truly love is the stuff that plays with dark and light.
Mm,
So, I really like my influences like Italian horror and the campier and more homemade side of horror. There's an element of light to be paired with the blood, with the dark themes, with whatever the characters unfortunately are going through
right.
throughout the story. So dark, and I know this is kind of cheesy, but dark to me also means light. So
Okay.
it's finding a beautiful balance between the two, and finding a really good marriage between the two, and making sure that you have room to play in the shadows as well as in the sun.
I love that so much. I mean, yeah, the idea of dark themed film as sort of an ability to explore the contrast and have that much broader, rounded kind of story. That's very cool. I'm curious, what was the onset process like? What
Oh,
was that
so
like for you?
it was really, really wonderful.
Okay.
It was also because we shot it during COVID, we wanted to make sure that everyone was being as safe as humanly
Right.
possible. So whenever before we shot, we made sure that everyone was clean and clear. No one was registering positive.
Okay.
Um, so that's number one. That was a huge concern throughout the whole
Totally.
filming process. But then what brought me so much joy was that there was so much wonder and humor on set because everyone was just so excited to be working on a project and to be around people. It was really fun to find these three incredibly talented actors who, when I told them to act not exactly realistically, to act over exaggerated, to strain their facial muscles in a way that maybe doesn't feel totally natural, they had so much fun playing with that and seeing just how far exaggerated they could go. Um, I also really enjoyed my process with David. We really worked very closely together because he's also the director of photography. So
Okay.
we made sure that we were planning out the shot list and it made sense. We also had a lot of fun with set decoration and costuming, something which I kind of took the mantle of because I had such a visual vision for what each character, visual vision, nice and articulate, um, but a way for I had that so rooted in my brain.
Right.
Something very like I said about the two territories, one being a little bit more sweaty and dirty and traditionally
Right.
masculine, the other
Right.
one being very feminine, and having a lot of details. So if the audience watches it a third or fourth time, they can see details that maybe they wouldn't have seen first off. Like in the background, there's actually collages of like True Love Forever and Danny's name written over and
Mm,
over again. There is a lot of a lot of photography of what a woman is supposed to
mm,
look like. So lots of eyeshadow, close eye pictures, photography, just as a huge collage on the wall, which kind of just reminded me of like a murder board, or just motivational things that young women are told to
right.
how they are supposed to look, how they're supposed to behave, motivational quotes, little things like that that I thought would be really funny and interesting to have in Caroline's bedroom, as if she is gearing herself up, is just like, you have to do this. This is what is expected of you. This is what I expect of myself.
Right.
I thought could be really interesting. And the idea that her look specifically is that vibrant purple hair, tattoos, black and red. I really liked the idea of her being very poisonous, venomous
Mm,
off the bat, because the more, if you think about poisonous animals, the more
right.
vibrantly colored they are, the more attractive they are to predators, and then they get bit or poisoned. So I really loved the idea of her being so outlandishly vibrant and her environment being the same to almost lull the predators, in this
Right.
case the two men, into thinking that they're safe.
I love that. There's so much detail put into this film, and it makes it feel like the world is just so much beyond, the short format, and
Thank
which is so cool. And that's the kind of detail that makes these movies incredible, and makes your film in particular so fantastic. Um, I want to know, what did you learn from this process? What new insights on the craft did you take away from this?
Ooh, it's a very good question. This isn't necessarily new, but it just is reaffirming every time
Okay.
I work on a project, which is that it is not my film, it is the team's film.
Okay.
Everyone was so wonderful. Buddy, our producer, David, who was the writer and the cinematographer, Jenna, who did all the lighting. Um, as several people came on for production assisting, local businesses like the Dirty Bar, which is where we shot the bar scene, as well as my friend Susie's parents' house, which is where we shot
Hmm.
the bedroom and the outside shots. Everyone was so incredibly kind and willing to help and put in the time and the effort to make this. And as a filmmaker and as a creative and as an artist, that is so incredibly valuable to have a team that is communicating successfully and is passionate and also at times saying, "Hey, Maddie, I think maybe we can shoot it this way because then maybe we can track it better." And being open enough as a director and as the leader to say, "Let's give it a go. Let's try." I feel like in past experiences, sometimes a team doesn't work as well because there is not enough acknowledgement that you are a team.
Hmm.
There is a close offedness, which
Okay.
okay if a director has a vision, but if there is an idea that after if it's that is pitched to me that I find more intriguing or could be something interesting or could be simpler, in execution, I'm all ears, want to absorb, want to give it a go. So, just every when I worked on this, it was just, especially after being in COVID and not having a creative outlet for a while,
Right.
really it just threw me into deeper appreciation, to how wonderful people are and how wonderful being part of a team is. I also think with this film, I've had all these ambitions to make something that's truly colorful and campy and a little bit ridiculous, and but also with a lot of blood and gore.
Hmm.
And it kind of reaffirmed for me what my taste is, if that makes sense.
Okay.
What is some like this project was such a labor of love, and it was such a wonderful, affirming way for me to say to myself, "This is the kind of stuff I want to be doing. I want to continue to make projects that are in this beautiful short format, that has this outlandish color palette, that is fun and ridiculous and cringy." That's definitely, it made me kind of realize that that is my voice. That is my comfort zone. That is what I want to continue doing. So, I know that is a very long-winded answer, but
That's great.
those are my two main points.
Well, that's fantastic insight. I mean, definitely you have to rely on collaboration for independent film. It's all about teamwork and pulling favors and stuff like that. But I really particularly enjoy your last tidbit there about finding your style and actually being reaffirmed in your ideas, because there's a lot of pressure to conform stylistically, especially a lot of people that I know who are pursuing a very specific type of set design and cinematography to get it into the Hollywood sphere. But I love that. That's just like a reaffirmation. You made this project. You said, yes, this is clearly who I am and what I want to be doing. That's
Yeah,
fantastic, and great insight for young filmmakers who are trying to find their voice and pushing against conformity. What are you working on next? Do you have any more of these colorful campy shorts in mind?
Absolutely. So after working on Danny, I really loved the idea of a bar being
Okay,
a setting where anything could happen. The greatest
right.
triumphs of a successful date, of meeting a new friend, of enjoy having a night of dancing and drinking and mirth. But then there's the dark side of it, like we illustrate in Danny,
Right.
of a hookup gone completely wrong. And I loved that idea of taking that setting and making a few more stories to create a horror anthology. So
Oh,
currently, what I'm doing is developing a feature length script with 7 horrific stories that all happen at a bar on the same night. That basically is a love letter to horror, and a love letter to uh, just ridiculousness, to the blood and gore, to monsters, to past influences, film
right.
of cinema past, that is very relevant in the present. So that's currently what I'm working on, and then also I'm developing a feature length script uh, for gothic children, pretty much, because when I
Oh,
was growing up, I very much related to, the Addams Family, to
right,
the Munsters, Twilight Zone, Monster High dolls. I
right.
loved anything that was sort of creepy, uh, had a Halloween aesthetic, and at least as when I was a kid, it was hard to find that. Uh,
Mm.
so I love the idea of creating a feature length movie that has those themes, that has ideas of Halloween every day, and making it accessible for a new generation of children who will look at it, watch it, and feel intrigued or seen.
Wow, these sound incredible.
Thank you.
That is so awesome. I'm really looking forward to that bar anthology, and I love the void that you're feeling with this gothic children idea.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
like
so cool.
it's so you have the classics of Nightmare Before Christmas,
Right.
and there are new ones that are being turned out and produced, but I really want to throw my story and my voice to
Totally.
children, because I also work in children's animation.
Okay.
So it's a nice marriage between my two passions, which is making media for children, and making horrific imagery for adult children. So I think it works perfect.
That is so awesome. Well, you have great momentum in that sphere. Tons of irons in the fire. That's so good to see. Is there anything else you'd like to add about Danny?
I honestly, I hope that when people watch it, they enjoy the effort that was made. I honestly think it's a feast for the eyes. One of my favorite things that I got to do with the project is create that opening sequence,
Mm,
which I told our wonderful composer, Jared Newman, I wanted it to be a mashup of Nine Inch Nails and Barbie. And
love
he
that.
delivered it beautifully. I think honestly, not only are the visuals something to really appreciate, I also adore the music that Jared created. I am very happy to have worked on this project and thrown my insane visuals and collaborated with such an amazing group of people. And I hope people cringe. I hope people go, eh,
Yep.
uh, and I hope it leaves people wanting to watch it a second or third time.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Maddie. People are absolutely going to love it. It's a feast for the eyes. It's going to look so incredible on the big screen on August 6th at the Austin After Dark Film Festival.
Thank
And
you.
I cannot wait to see some more from you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Absolutely. All right. Take care.
You too. Bye.